I started my life with exactly 2 empty hands. No money, no support, no smooth road laid out. Just me, alone, standing in the vast United Kingdom, with my family waiting for me to carry on. There were times when I slept on cold steps, there were times when I had only a few coins in my pocket, and there were nights when I asked myself, will I still have enough strength to go on tomorrow? But then, it was in the most desperate moments that I found the strength to stand up. And that journey, the journey from zero to step-by-step survival, step-by-step holding my head high, is the story that I want to tell you today. I was born into a poor family. My childhood did not have expensive toys, nor luxurious trips. What I had were long days crammed into a small room, simple meals, and the worried eyes of my parents thinking about tomorrow. From a young age, I understood, if I wanted to survive, I had to find my own opportunities. I went to school and worked at the same time. When my friends were still dreaming about the future, I had to wait tables in restaurants, load goods in warehouses, wash dishes in a kitchen full of hot steam. Many nights, I returned home with blistered hands, but in my heart there was still a burning desire. I refused to live in this situation forever. I dreamed of the day I would escape the vicious cycle of poverty. I dreamed of stepping out into the world, even though I knew that it would be full of storms. And it was that dream that led me to a new beginning, in a place called the United Kingdom, where I had to start all over again, from scratch. When I arrived in the UK, I thought I would find an opportunity. But the truth was harsher than I thought. I had no qualifications, no experience, and my English was only enough to understand a few simple sentences. I went everywhere to apply for jobs. Restaurants, bars, grocery stores, even construction sites. But most of the answers I received were just cold shakes of the head. There were days when I walked dozens of kilometers, my legs were tired, and still returned empty-handed. To survive, I took any job I could, washing dishes in a smoky kitchen, cleaning the floors of restaurants until midnight, carrying tables and chairs in a noisy atmosphere where no one even looked at me. The little money I received was just enough for a cramped room and frugal meals that required going hungry. I still remember clearly one winter night, the cold wind bit my skin. I had only a few coins left in my pocket, not enough to buy a decent meal. I sat on the stone steps, my hands shaking with cold, my mouth whispering to myself, tomorrow, will I still have enough strength to continue? At that moment, I clenched my fists, took a deep breath, and said to myself, if I fall today, who will take care of my family tomorrow? And so, I stood up again. Despite my exhaustion, despite my despair, I kept going, because I did not allow myself to give up. Every month, when I hold my small salary in my hand, I don't think much about myself. The first thing I do is send it back home. My family is waiting, my parents are old and weak, my younger siblings need to be educated. I know, if I delay, they will have to face miserable days. But to be able to send that money, I have to cut back every little bit of my life. Sometimes, I only eat cold bread and drink water for a week. Sometimes I have to wear the same 2 sets of clothes over and over, even though it's freezing cold. The pressure weighs heavily on my shoulders. Bills are unpaid, rent is piling up, and on the other end of the phone line is my mother's trembling voice, choking back the question, are you okay? I smile, lie that I'm fine, say that everything is fine. But behind that smile are long nights when I collapse in the dark, tears soaking my pillow. There are moments when I think I'm about to collapse. The whole world seemed to turn its back on me, and I was left alone. But then, just thinking about my family waiting for me. I clenched my fists, swallowed the pain, and continued walking. Because I understood, if I fell, no one would take my place to carry the burden of this house. After many days of wandering, I finally got my first stable job. It was just a small position in a cheap restaurant, washing dishes, cleaning, mopping floors. But for me, it was like a life buoy in the whirlpool. The day I received my first salary, I held the money trembling in my hand. Although it wasn't much, I knew each coin was my blood, sweat, and sleepless nights. And for the first time, I could send all that money home to my family. I still remember my mother's choked voice on the phone, my child, our family has received it. Thank you. Just that one sentence was enough to make my eyes water, my heart ached with both pain and happiness. From the little money, I learned to save little by little. I didn't dare to spend lavishly. Every coin I kept was a small step towards the future. Those small achievements, a stable job, a small amount of savings, a thank you from my family became a guiding light. They made me believe that, although this journey is full of difficulties, as long as I persevere, I can still go on. Just when I thought life was starting to settle down, the storm hit again. A sudden economic crisis forced the restaurant I worked at to close. I lost my job. Overnight, everything I had worked so hard to build vanished. My meager savings dwindled. Bills piled up, rent was pressing, and I had only a few bills left in my pocket. There were days when my only meal was a dry loaf of bread and a bottle of water. There were nights when I curled up in my cold room, my stomach churning with hunger. I stared at the ceiling, feeling like the world was collapsing right before my eyes. In despair, I thought about giving up. But then, as my hand unconsciously touched the phone, I remembered my family. They were still waiting for me. If I gave up, what would happen? That thought, like a sudden flame bursting out in the dark night. I stood up and said to myself, no. I cannot fall. I must continue, no matter what. And so, I began a new journey, a journey that was even more difficult. I rushed out onto the streets, starting from scratch to find a job. Not picky, not afraid of hardship. I did anything that could bring in a few bucks. During the day, I worked as a construction worker at the construction site, carrying heavy bags of cement on my shoulders. At night, I worked as a waiter, running back and forth amidst the loud laughter. At night, when everyone was asleep, I sat down to study English, writing down every word with my eyes burning from lack of sleep. There were days when I could only sleep for 3 hours. My body was exhausted, my limbs were limp, my back ached as if it was about to break. But I didn't dare stop. Every time my body wanted to give up, I told myself, you don't live just for yourself. You live for your family waiting back home. I started to learn more skills, from how to communicate with customers to small repair jobs. I kept practicing, kept trying. Every penny I earned, no matter how little, was a testament to my unyielding will. In that harsh cycle, I gradually realized, the greatest strength of a person does not lie in his muscles, but in his determination to never give up. After months of struggling, my silent efforts finally paid off. Thanks to hard work and perseverance in learning, I gradually got noticed. A manager trusted me and gave me a better opportunity, a stable job, a higher salary, and most importantly, respect. For the first time, I no longer had to bow my head when I went to work. I could hold my head high, smile at my colleagues, and hear them call my name with respect. I remember the moment I received my first salary at my new job. Holding that amount of money in my hand, I not only felt like I was surviving, but also felt like I was gradually moving forward. With a stable income, I could take care of myself, and more, send more and more to my family. No more choked phone calls, no more nights of crying silently because of hopelessness. That was the glimmer of light, a small light but strong enough to kindle the belief that, all the pain, all the exhaustion I experienced, were not in vain. Today, when I look back on my journey, I do not consider myself a successful person. I am not a millionaire, nor do I own the luxuries that people admire. But I know one thing for sure, I am the one who has conquered my own destiny. I came into this world with nothing. I have gone through days of hunger, nights sleeping on cold steps, moments when I felt like I wanted to collapse. But I still stood up. I still kept going. And I still kept the promise to my family that I would never give up. My story is not just about money or work. It is proof that, the greatest strength lies not in the starting point, but in the will to not give up. If I, a person with nothing in my hands, can stand firm and keep going, then you can too. And when tomorrow comes, I want you to remember one thing, life can knock you down many times, but as long as you don't give up, you are still a winner.